Let us talk about decision making in Python. So in Python and in life in general, of course, you have to make decisions. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand how to use conditional statements in Python, how they work, and how to write some simple logic-based code blocks in Python. And so far, we've already looked at how you can use comparison operators and everything. So they help a lot in decision making in Python. So when you're making decisions, we have to basically check if, for example, someone has passed an exam, or you want to check if someone is allowed into a party based on maybe their age. But as you can see, as we try and make these decisions, this is where if else statements come in. So let's try and just break them down quickly. What you can see here on our code editor is a simple Python, rather simple explanation and walkthrough sketch of how if else statements work in Python. So in Python, we use the if keyword to test a condition. If that condition is true, then the intended code that we're going to define, that code is going to run. If that statement is not true or that condition is not true, then it's going to check the next condition. So it's going to check elif. Elif basically means the else if. So if this condition is not met, then you do this. So else if you also give another condition. If none of these conditions match, then you'll go ahead and use the else statement at the end. So the else statement is what gets executed if any, or rather when any of the other conditions that you have before it have failed, have not been met. So in terms of how you make conditions, we've already talked about this. You basically give it a condition, then what should be done after that condition is met. So for example, now what you're going to do, I'm going to define a variable here, and a variable age. I'll initialize it to a value like 20. Then we want to check, maybe just a basic age check really here. So how we do it, you give it a condition. So the condition could be if age is greater than or equal to 18. If this is the case, then what do you want to be done here? So here and do something, we're going to print a statement, and this statement is going to say something like you are an adult. So if you're an adult, you get this as the output. Then for now, we're going to just discard this for now, the elif. We're going to get back to that in a moment. Then we give an else. So the else, this is what gets printed whenever someone's age is less than 18. So here we print something, and we can tell this to print a statement like you are underage. So you are underage. So we print this whenever someone's age is less than 18. So this is something that could be used in, for example, if someone is allowed to drive. Of course, driving depends on the country and all, but this is how that works. So the if condition, if this condition is met, this is printed. If that condition is not met, where the else, that's where the else comes in. What you've defined in the else is printed. Now, it does not really have to be just a print statement. So as we're going to see in the future, you can do a lot more inside here. So there's a lot more logic that you can basically define inside here. Now, I want us to try and build a simple project out of this now. I'm going to just comment this out so you can look at it later. And what we're going to do now is we're going to build a simple grading system. So a simple should be G here, a simple grading system. And in our grading system, we're going to define a few things. So first in the variable, and we're going to initialize it to a value like 70. After we've initialized it to 70, then we can start making some decisions. So we write our if statements here. We can say if the score of a person is greater than or equal to 70, we want this person to be given a grade of A. So we can just say here grade is A. This A should be uppercase. Then we can now, in this case, because we're going to have to test multiple conditions to give all the different grades, then an elif comes in here. So elif or else if. So you can just check and say if the score now, if the score is greater than or equal to value like, let's say 60, then we're going to print a statement here, and we're going to say that this person has a grade of B. We can also give another elif here. So in our other elif, we're also going to give it a condition. We're going to say if the score is greater than or equal to 50, then the condition or rather the output that is going to be given here is a grade of should be a G, a grade of C. Then we can now give it an else at the end. That is in case someone now, in case all these other conditions are not met. Then here we can go ahead and print a statement, and you can say uh, a grade of D or lower. So we say something like that. So in this case, basically what we've done is we've tried to change the score or rather give different conditions over time for us to see an output that you're going to get. But let's run our code first. I've already saved it. We're going to run Python. I call this file if else.py. So it should be if. Then you see we get grade A for 70. So this is how it works. It's going to check the 70, and then it checks the first condition. And it's going to check is 70 greater than or equal to 70. Then that condition is automatically met. So it's going to go ahead and print it out and discard everything. But if we have something like, let's say we have a grade like 40, now, what is going to happen in this case? It is going to check the first condition, and it realizes the condition is not met or it is false here because 40 is less than 70. It's going to check the second condition, realize the same thing, check the third condition, and also realizes this condition is not met. Then, since all the previous conditions are not met, then it's going to go ahead and execute what is in the else block. In this case, it's going to be this statement. But let's just test that out. As we run, you see it tells us grade of D or lower. So this is what happens with a grading system, just a simple conditional statements. So what I want you to do is maybe just try changing the score to see how the output changes in your case, and that is how conditionals work. Python basically evaluates them from top to bottom, like you've seen here. Okay, you can use all the other conditional operators that we saw to try and add some, or rather make it a little bit more fun and add some more other conditions and capabilities to this simple grading system. You can use the equal to statements, the not equal to, the less than, which we haven't used. There are many of these statements that we haven't used. So that is basically it on decision making in Python using conditional statements and simple if statements here as well, or rather the conditional operators and the simple if statements and the else statement, as you can see here. So in the next video, we're going to talk about how to create a simple movie ticket checker, and I'll see you on that one.